Palworld dropped yesterday, and it has been met with overwhelmingly positive response. Right now, Palworld is the #1 game with the most players on Steam, with 1 million plus playing concurrently. It's also free on Xbox Games Pass. That's how I checked it out. After seeing a lot of YouTubers and streamers give pretty much overwhelmingly positive reviews, or at least first impressions of the game, saying that it looks fun, it's actually cool. I checked it out. I played it for about an hour and a half. And it's actually a lot more than I expected. It's like a survival aspect to the game where you need to actually eat food and you need to stay warm and you need to actually do things and craft things in order to catch these Pokemon. I mean, Palmons. And it actually does seem pretty fun, but it seems like it's actually way more involved than I was expecting. And it has like a Dark Souls mechanic where when you die, you need to go recover your lost items. So far so good, but you know what? A lot of people are enjoying this game, a lot of people are happy, but there's a certain small minority group that aren't very happy about this, and you might not be surprised considering it is yet again these salty Nintendo fanboys. They are absolutely positively losing their minds because a game that pretty much rivals Pokemon in the space where, you know, the idea is that you have fire Pokemon that do damage to grass, you have water Pokemon that do damage to fire, and it's the same thing in Palmon. Certain pals do certain damage to other people, but at the same time, you can also have your pal attack a certain pal, and then you go behind them, jump them, and hit them in the back of the head, which Pokemon doesn't have. I like Pokemon. I've played almost every single Pokemon, begrudgingly, but I've never been able to get in on the fun. I've never been able to punch a Pokemon in the back of the head while my other Pokemon hits him from the front. I'm literally in there like it's Jujutsu Kaisen and we're beating up a guy, jumping them. Now, the thing about Nintendo fanboys is that they're gonna find a reason to over-exaggerate the greatness of Nintendo, and they're gonna find a reason to basically underappreciate something like Palworld, where it's a new game. It's not a re-release of a re-release. It's actually something that's brand new, and it's actually pretty interesting. And let's see what the Nintendo fanboys have to say. No, heavily referencing and copying from Pokemon designs won't harm the Pokemon community. I don't think people are arguing that, but what it does is come off as incredibly shady and lazy. Make something original. This is coming from the same people who praise Pokemon for literally not only copying old Pokemon and bringing them to the new game, but using it as a feature that is actually new, meaning that in the last Pokemon, for example, Charizard wasn't in the game. You couldn't pick Charizard, but they added a raid where they brought Charizard back, and that was like the best thing ever because everyone likes the old Pokemon. And the way that Pokemon has evolved over time is that their designers and computer scientists, I'm trying to get a job at Nintendo, to be honest, like they have an easy role. They actually said that they can't bring all the Pokemon to the new games because it takes up too much space. There was actually people online standing there saying that JPEG data is too big to fit in the game. Imagine how many JPEGs you could fit in this game. Like, there's people out there who are armchair computer scientists explaining why Nintendo is actually smart for reducing features in games and bringing back old things as if they're new. And yet somehow Palworld is bad because they're not original enough. And then we get to this point right here where this person is basically picking apart the design choice between Cinderace and a pal, where he says, actually, Cinderace, funnily enough, has the best chance of getting Palworld sued by the Pokemon Company. Now these dudes want to be lawyers. Now they want to actually help Nintendo sue other companies. This is a complete carbon copy. The only difference is this thing has between Cinderace is that it's a grass type. All right, to be honest with you, Cinderace is probably one of the most lazily designed Pokemon. It is yet again one of those firefighting types, and it's not even anything that's very unique. It's a fighting bunny, right? And if you look at the Palworld one, it looks more like an Eevee if you're going to make the comparison. It doesn't really look like a rabbit. And to be honest with you, I don't know why you're standing Pokemon for having that design and trying to say that it's so similar when it's clearly not. But listen, if it goes to court, hopefully they bring you as one of the chief justices to hear the case, because that's the only way they ever win in is if they have a Nintendo fanboy that is the judge on the case. And then this person basically comes along and says, hey, this one makes me sad. Besides the obvious Meganium, the flower, be taken from Lilligant, it bends the same way. I'm gonna go ahead and skip this because this is basically saying that they're taking elements from two different Pokemon and saying that it looks too similar. Obviously, it's a dinosaur. Obviously, it has the same, like, shape design. But at this point in time, like, if you're really that anal about designs and that anal about copyright, like, there's something wrong with you. Because, in my opinion, I think that it's fun enough and it's fair enough, and that there's really not much you can complain about. Now, here we go. Here's the next one. Reminder to not support Palworld. It's not even subtle about its ripoffs. How much else has it stolen? And then it shows a bunch of different designs where things look similar. But the thing is, it doesn't look exactly the same, in my opinion. And even if it did look exactly the same, I can't, in Pokemon Go, and punch these things in the face. Like, that's the thing. At the end of the day, I can still pull out an AK-47 and start shooting these things. I can never do that in Pokemon. So I don't understand why people are saying this is a complete ripoff, when in reality, it just looks like it's paying homage in certain degrees. And at the same time, these are not the only pals. There's other pals. There's different ones. I've actually seen pretty... Like, I've played the game for about an hour, and I've seen, like, pals that are actually pretty ingeniously designed as compared with the newer Pokemon I've seen. For example, they have one that's like a Dreammon, where it's literally a dream, and it shoots, like, orbs attacks, and it looks pretty cool, and it comes out at night. So that's something that's original. That's something they came up with. It's not like they're just copying Pokemon. They're not just doing one-on-one comparisons. If anything, if any of these actually do look like other Pokemon, it'd be pretty obvious that it's basically, you know, sending an homage and basically saying, like, obviously this is Pokemon with guns. Obviously some of these look similar. And now we get to this guy who, again, this guy gets tight. He goes, I want to like Palworld, but I don't know if I can support running existing Pokemon through a fuser and passing them off as new IP. A fan game would be fine, but as a commercially available product, ... And honestly, it's pretty funny to see these people say that what they say. And then another comment that I saw that might be true, might not be true, but it's pretty funny because it's essentially a salty Pokemon fan saying, people right now, Palworld is a Pokemon killer. People in 3 months, what happened to Palworld? First of all, no one's saying that this is a Pokemon killer. No one's saying that this is a substitute for Pokemon. But a lot of people are drawing comparisons with Pokemon, and rightfully so. They are basically crapping on Pokemon devs. Because if you played the last Pokemon, it was literally a slap in the face. I was pretty much a clown for buying that because not only did they make the game worse graphically, like it looked like a Nintendo 64 game, Palworld at least looks like a current gen graphics, but they removed features like the World Bank, they removed features like easy trading, they removed features that essentially were in older games on the DS and even the previous Switch one, because they're like, oh, we can't port it over. And the thing with the World Bank or the World Trading System is that Nintendo devs said that, oh, moving from the Nintendo DS to the Switch is actually really difficult. The networking is completely different. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's part of your job as an engineer, is to figure out that problem and solve it. I don't go to my manager and he asks me for a solution. I go, oh man, you don't know what this is putting me through. I don't know the answer, and since I can't copy paste from the last release, I don't know what to do. That's not acceptable. Like, Nintendo fanboys are defending something that has become extremely lazy. The developers for Pokemon, in my opinion, have billions of dollars behind them for no reason. I think every time they develop, they probably have resources left over and they find reasons to spend the money because it doesn't show up in the final product. Like, if you look at Pokemon from the Nintendo DS era, those were at least fun. Every single time there was some type of improvement. Then coming to the Switch, some way, somehow, the first game that came out had better graphics than the second game. I don't know how that makes sense. And then at the same time, it doesn't even feel like a 3D Pokemon game. And what's crazy is that they already did good 3D Pokemon games like Pokemon Stadium. But listen, let's not sit here and point out the differences or the despicableness of Nintendo, okay? There's definitely some flaws there, and the fanboys will protect them. But it is very important to remember that Palworld is a smaller developer, a smaller company. They're delivering something that looks more fun, better graphics, potentially more gameplay, because I literally started the game and it seems like Dark Souls, where when you spawn in, you need to figure out how to build a base. If you die, you need to recover your items. You need to actually think about the way you're playing the game. And it seems like more of an adventure game where you need to find more areas of the map and explore it from then on. I don't even know what the main story of the game is yet. And it looks fun. It looks cool. Will it be here 3 months from now? I don't know. But right now, I'm enjoying it. And what's making it even better is that it's being seasoned with these Nintendo fanboy tears.
At the end of every single video, make sure you ask people to rate and subscribe to your content. It makes them feel like they're involved even though they're really not. And most importantly, make sure they comment on every single video. If you have to, disguise it. You know, call it something like the question of the day. And really make them think you're gonna really read it when you really don't have to. Ha ha ha!